In Kanazawa, there is a woman who begins ending her day at 8 p.m. Not going to bed at 8 p.m., ending her day. The difference matters. The overhead light in her living room is switched off and replaced by a single small lamp in the corner. The television has been off since dinner. Her phone is in the kitchen, face down, where it has been since she finished eating. She makes a cup of barley tea, sits with it for a few minutes, and then runs a bath. By 10 p.m., the light is out. By 10:03, she is asleep. She is 64. She does not take anything to help her sleep. She has not described herself as tired in years. Somewhere tonight, someone who is also 64, or 44, or 34 is lying in bed staring at the ceiling. They went to bed at a reasonable hour. They are not drinking caffeine. They are genuinely tired. And their brain will not stop. It is reviewing the day, rehearsing tomorrow, cataloging everything unresolved, running at a frequency that has nothing to do with sleep and everything to do with the 3 hours that came before the bed. This is the part most Western sleep advice skips entirely. It focuses on the bedroom, the temperature, the darkness, the mattress, the white noise machine. Japan focuses on the evening, because the quality of the sleep is not determined when the light goes out. It is determined in the hours before it. Number 2 on this list is the habit most people have never once connected to sleep. And number 5 is the direct opposite of what most Western sleep advice has been recommending for years. What the brain does overnight, the memory consolidation, the emotional processing, the cellular repair, the hormonal regulation, all of it depends on the quality of the architecture of sleep it can achieve. And that architecture is built or destroyed in the pre-sleep window. Dr. Matthew Walker, neuroscientist and author of the most cited popular work on sleep science, has described the brain's preparation for sleep as something that cannot be rushed or bypassed. It must be allowed to wind down through a gradual reduction in stimulation, cortisol, and core body temperature. The brain does not have an off switch. It has a dimmer, and most Western evenings never touch it. Japan touches it 5 times before the light goes out. The first habit is light, not the absence of light at bedtime, the deliberate reduction of light beginning 2 to 3 hours before sleep. The brain's production of melatonin, the hormone that drives the transition into sleep, is suppressed by bright overhead light, not just screen light, all bright light. A living room running on full overhead lighting at 9 p.m. is telling the brain, in the only language it understands, that it is still midday. Japanese homes shift to low, warm, indirect light in the evening as a matter of course, not as a sleep intervention, but as the natural texture of what an evening is. Small lamps, low placement, warm rather than cool color temperature. The practice of seijaku, stillness and tranquility cultivated as an active choice, begins with the quality of the light the evening is lived in. This evening, at 8 p.m., switch off every overhead light in your home. Replace them with 1 or 2 lamps at low level. Notice what happens to the feeling of the room and to the feeling in your body within 20 minutes. The second habit is the one nobody connects to sleep: temperature, specifically the deliberate cooling of the body in the hour before bed. Core body temperature needs to drop by approximately 1 degree Celsius to initiate and maintain deep sleep. This is not a preference, it is a physiological requirement. A body that cannot cool cannot reach the deeper stages of sleep architecture where the most restorative processes occur. Research from the University of South Australia has shown that insomnia is almost universally accompanied by an elevated core body temperature at night, the body trying to sleep in a thermal environment that makes sleep biologically difficult. In Japan, this is where the ofuro, the deep soaking bath, functions as something far more precise than a relaxation ritual. Immersing the body in hot water for 10 to 15 minutes raises the core temperature rapidly. When the bather steps out of the bath, the body begins aggressively releasing that heat through the skin, and core temperature drops, quickly and significantly, to a level that makes deep sleep not just possible, but almost unavoidable. The bath is not the relaxation habit. The cooling after the bath is the sleep mechanism. And the Japanese have been using it every evening without knowing the neuroscience behind it for longer than the neuroscience has existed. A bath 1 hour before bed, followed by a cool room. That is the habit. The body does the rest. The third habit is the simplest and the one most consistently ignored. The evening meal ends early and stays light. What the digestive system is doing while the body is trying to sleep is not a passive process. Digesting a large meal requires significant metabolic activity, raised core temperature, active enzymatic work, an insulin curve that competes directly with the hormonal environment sleep requires. A heavy meal eaten at 8 p.m. is asking the body to do two things simultaneously that cannot both be done well. Japanese evening meals are the lightest of the day, finished early. Nothing heavy, nothing that demands significant digestive work in the hours before sleep. The body arrives at bedtime having largely completed its digestive work, free to redirect its resources toward the overnight repair that sleep is supposed to deliver. Eat your lightest meal in the evening. Finish it by 7 p.m. if possible. What this does to the quality of sleep in the first half of the night, the deepest, most physically restorative half, is more significant than almost any other single change on this list. The fourth habit is about the transition itself. In Japan, the concept of the deliberate pause, the intentional gap between things, applies to the evening as much as it applies to anything else. The transition between the active day and the sleeping night is not an accident. It is a buffer zone that is consciously constructed. Something that belongs to neither the day nor the night, but exists specifically to allow one to become the other. In Western evenings, there is almost no transition at all. The day runs at full speed until the moment the person lies down. Emails checked, news consumed, tomorrow's list assembled in the mind. And then sleep is expected to arrive immediately in a brain that has been given no signal whatsoever that the day is over. The Japanese evening buffer looks different in different homes. Tea, a short walk, a bath, quiet reading, a few minutes of sitting without purpose. But the function is always the same. A period of genuine deceleration that the nervous system can use to move from alert to calm without being asked to do it instantaneously. 30 minutes, between the last active thing of your day and the moment you get into bed. Not screen time, not news, not anything that requires the brain to process, react, or decide. 30 minutes of something genuinely quiet. The brain will use them in ways that are not immediately visible but will be entirely apparent at 3 a.m. when it does not wake you up. The fifth habit, the one that contradicts what most Western sleep advice has been saying for 20 years. Do not make the bedroom dark. Not completely, not during the evening. Western sleep advice has become so focused on darkness as a sleep aid that blackout curtains have become standard, and in the process, the morning has been accidentally broken. The body's circadian rhythm is calibrated by light, and the primary signal it uses to anchor the rhythm is the timing of morning light. A bedroom sealed against all light means the body receives no morning signal, the rhythm drifts, cortisol peaks at the wrong time, and the entire sleep-wake cycle slowly loses its anchor. In Japan, the bedroom is darkened for sleep, but is not sealed against morning light. Shoji screens filter rather than block. The room lightens gradually as morning arrives, and the body uses that light to begin the hormonal cascade, cortisol rising correctly, melatonin fading, the waking state arriving as a natural process rather than a violent interruption from an alarm. Remove or open your blackout curtains. Let the morning light find you. The sleep you lose in the final minutes before sunrise is significantly less valuable than the hormonal calibration that morning light delivers to every hour that follows. 5 habits, none of them requiring a new mattress, a supplement, or a single product. The woman in Kanazawa, whose light is out by 10 p.m., has never read a word of sleep science. She does not need to. The evening she constructed around herself over decades has been doing the neuroscience quietly on her behalf. Which of these 5 are you starting with tonight? Not this weekend, tonight. Leave it in the comments. And if someone in your life describes themselves as a bad sleeper and has been that way for so long they have stopped trying to change it, send this to them. They might not be a bad sleeper at all. They might just have never been shown what a good evening looks like. I will see you in the next video.